I see you, really take this feeling. I see you, I see you. Now I'm really just too
Yo, what is up guys, this is Tito back with another video, and on both Redmi Note 3 and the Redmi Note 5 Pro, I am rocking the final build of official Resurrection Remix 6.2, which is based on Android 8.1. And I think from now on, developers will be focusing on building Android Pie based Resurrection Remix ROM, so huge thanks to every Android developer out there. And as you can see, the fingerprint scanner on the Redmi Note 5 Pro is a bit faster when compared to the Redmi Note 3 Pro, which is quite obvious, but on both of them, fingerprint scanner does work super fine. And I'm gonna be showing you almost everything side by side regarding this ROM, and I gotta say, if you want the best custom ROM with like great customizations and with stability on top of stock Android, well, this is the one for both devices as of now, I gotta say. You can pull down the notification panel from anywhere on the home screen. First, let me go to settings and system on both devices. Here you will see that we have advanced option on Redmi Note 5 Pro, which Redmi Note 3 doesn't have. Well, technically Redmi Note 3 does not need it, because in advanced we get camera to API option on the Redmi Note 5 Pro, which is already enabled by default on the Redmi Note 3. So we'll talk about that later on this video, so make sure you watch till the end. Now let me go inside about phone. Here as you can see, the Redmi Note 3 is running on 10th September 2018 final build, and the Redmi Note 5 Pro is running 11th September 2018 final build, and I gotta say both of them are running super duper fine, no issues whatsoever with both devices. And of course everything is running on top of Android 8.1 Oreo on both devices. The security patch is of September 5th, 2018 on both the Redmi Note 3 and the Redmi Note 5 Pro, which is the latest one, so no issues there. Let me go back now. Both the ROMs has the Trebuchet launcher by default, which has Google Now cards to the left of the home screen, but you have to enable it. I'll show you how to do that. And you can Google search from here as you can see. And this launcher is running fine on both devices, never faced any kind of force closes at all. Widgets on both are working super fine here, but if you want to enable the Google Now cards thing, over here you have to go to the launcher settings, then more, then you have to enable this enable feed integration option, and from the quick settings panel you can edit and add or remove multiple toggles by just one tapping them, which is a great thing. And notice how smooth the animations are on both devices, and how good it's handling almost a 3 generation old device, which is the Redmi Note 3. Now let me show you the stock camera app here on both the devices. Here we have Snapdragon camera app on both, and let me show you the front camera because the devices are on the table, so it's just showing the black screen with the rear camera. And by the way, if you wanna install Google camera mods on both, yes, it will work on both the ROMs. And as you can see, this Snapdragon camera works fine, but it takes pretty basic pictures. But on the Redmi Note 5 Pro, to enable camera to API or to be able to use Google camera, we need to enable it from settings, system, and from advanced, which you do not need on the Redmi Note 3 by the way. And you need to enable this camera to API option from here. On the Redmi Note 3, you just install GCMod 5, just open the app, change settings and done. You will have portrait mode and HDR plus right there. So yeah, it is simpler on the Redmi Note 3 I would say. Whereas on the Redmi Note 5 Pro, you have to reboot the device once after you enable camera to API. I will be using the MGC All Auto mod by the way, here on the Redmi Note 5 Pro. And by the way, both the ROMs does have advanced reboot option, by which you can directly boot into fast boot or recovery, just in case you are wondering. So let me quickly reboot the Redmi Note 5 Pro now. So here as you can see, portrait mode in both devices does work, but it does crop the image when comparing it to the normal photos mode. But on the Redmi Note 3 it might look like a little too much cropped when you see the Redmi Note 5 Pro side by side. But do keep in mind guys that the Redmi Note 3 is a 3 generation old device and it had a 5 megapixel sensor, and on the Redmi Note 5 Pro we have a whopping 20 megapixel front facing shooter. Now let's do a app open up and side by side RAM management test, because why not? As you can see, both devices right now has no apps in memory, and it shows how much free RAM left on each device over here on top in the recent apps panel. Note that the Redmi Note 3 here is a 3GB RAM variant, whereas the Redmi Note 5 Pro I have here is a 4GB RAM variant. Please ignore my home button tapping problem on the Redmi Note 3, it was totally my fault, or you can call it human error. No problems with the ROM or the device. Of course the Redmi Note 5 Pro is much faster while opening almost every app, because the Snapdragon 636 is newer, better and optimized than the Snapdragon 650 simply. So as you can see, even though the Redmi Note 5 Pro was faster in opening apps, the Redmi Note 3 was really close, and both the devices have all the apps in memory, so that's a great thing. So no issues regarding memory management or app open up speeds. Strangely though, on the recent panel memory bar, the Redmi Note 5 Pro shows it has less free RAM when it's opened like the same apps on both devices. And on the Redmi Note 3, as you can see, it shows much more RAM when the Redmi Note 5 Pro has 1GB of more physical RAM. So yeah, that's how it is. In terms of customizations, well, as you guys know, the Resurrection Remix have been the king of customizations in the past, and it will be, it looks like. And we have every cool customizations like sliding a finger on the status bar to adjust brightness. On the Smart Nav bar, we have double tap to sleep, and this feature is also there for the Redmi Note 3. I'm just not using that. And of course, we do have double tap to sleep on the status bar on both ROMs, both devices, which I find really useful. And on both devices with this ROM, out of the box, banking apps like Google Pay works without any help of Magisk. So yeah, that is a great thing. By the way, my primary SIM is inside the Redmi Note 5 Pro, so I am showing it to you on this specific device, but don't worry, it works the same way on the Redmi Note 3 too. And on both devices we have bunch of customizations, but I'm gonna show you some specific ones, which is like the navigation edge gestures, and that works fine even on the Redmi Note 3, which is a great thing in my opinion. Let me just show you. As you can see, works flawlessly. And one more awesome feature of this ROM is you can toggle torch while the screen is locked by pressing and holding the power button. As you can see, works flawlessly again on both of the devices. Now let's talk about some gaming maybe. Well, PUBG works fine on both devices. On the top we have the Redmi Note 3, and over here we have the Redmi Note 5 Pro. And let me show you the graphics settings first. The Redmi Note 5 Pro supports up to HD at high frame rate settings, whereas the Redmi Note 3 supports up to balanced at medium frame rate. And with those settings, as you can see, on the Redmi Note 5 Pro we can see shadows of the character, but on the Redmi Note 3 it's not there due to medium settings of course. And here is the Antutu and Geekbench scores of both devices on this ROM. And now here is a demo of face unlocking speed on both devices. Both are really close in terms of unlocking speed, I mean the face unlocking speed, but of course the Note 5 Pro is faster. And one more thing that I want to show you is, of course, VoLTE calls and video calls work super fine here without any issues on both devices with the same ROM. And on both devices, while calling, we do get an option to record the call by default here, which is not present on most custom ROMs, which is a great thing. And again, this feature is present with both the devices. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys for today. So best stable ROM as of now is the Resurrection Remix final build. No doubt on that, in my opinion at least. Let me know if you like this comparison video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. Share this video with your friends if you want to show it off that why custom ROMs are better than anything else. And if you feel the same, do subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. This is Tito signing off, and you guys have been watching KDN Tech, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.